An anthology of readings of Almighty God's words. Interpretations of the mysteries of God's words to the entire universe. Chapters 44 and 45. Since the time when God told man of the love for God, the most profound of all lessons, He has focused on speaking of this topic in the utterances of the seven spirits, causing all people to try to know the emptiness of human life, and thus digging out the true love within them. How much love for God do those who exist in the present step have? Do you know? There are no limits to the lesson of loving God. What kind of understanding do all people have about human life? What is their attitude toward loving God? Are they willing or unwilling? Do they follow the great masses or detest the flesh? These are all things that you should be clear about and understand. Is there really nothing within people? I want man to love me truly. Today, however, people still drag their feet, unable to give their true love to me. In their imaginings, they believe that if they give their true love to me, they will be left with nothing. In these words, just what does true love really mean? Why does God still ask for people's true love in this era when all people love God? Thus, God's intention is to ask man to write the meaning of true love upon an answer sheet. And so, this is precisely the homework that God has laid out for man. As for this step of today, even though God does not make great demands of man, people have yet to attain God's original requirements of man. In other words, they have yet to invest all their strength in loving God. Thus, amidst their unwillingness, God still makes His requirements of people, right up until this work has had an effect and He is glorified in this work. Indeed, the work on earth is concluded by love for God. Thus, only when God concludes His work does He indicate to man the most important work of all. If, at the time when His work ends, He gives man death, what would become of man? What would become of God? And what would become of Satan? Only when the love of man on earth is elicited can it be said that God has conquered man. If not, people would say that God bullies man, and God would thus be shamed. God would not be so stupid as to bring His work to an end without a whisper. Thus, when the work is soon to finish, there arises a wave of passion for loving God, and loving God becomes a topical issue. Of course, this love of God is not tainted by man. It is an unadulterated love, like a faithful wife's love for her husband, or the love of Peter. God does not want the love of Job and Paul, but the love of Jesus for Jehovah, the love between the Father and the Son. Only thinking of the Father, without consideration of personal loss or gain, loving only the Father and none other, and asking for nothing else. Is man capable of this? If we compare you with what Jesus did, He who was not of complete humanity, what do we think? How far have you come in your complete humanity? Are you capable of attaining a tenth of what Jesus did? Are you qualified to go to the cross for God? Can your love for God bring shame upon Satan? And how much of your love for man have you expelled? Has it been replaced with love for God? Do you really endure all for the love of God? Think for a moment about Peter, who lived in times past, and then take a look at yourself, who are of today. There really is a great discrepancy. You are unfit to stand before God. Within you, is there more love for God or more love for the devil? This should be alternately placed on the left and right-hand side of the scale, so as to see which one is higher. How much love for God is really in you? Are you fit to die before God? The reason why Jesus was able to stand upon the cross was because his experiences on earth were sufficient to bring shame upon Satan. And only for that reason did God the Father boldly allow him to complete that stage of work. It was because of the hardship he had suffered and his love for God. But you are not so qualified. Thus, you must continue experiencing, achieving having God in your heart and nothing else. Can you accomplish this? From this, it can be seen how much you hate God and how much you love God. It is not that God is too demanding toward man, but that man does not work hard. Is this not the reality of the situation? If not, how much that is lovable would you discover in God, and how much that is detestable would you find in yourself? You should give close consideration to these things. It is fair to say that only a few beneath the heavens love God. But can you be a pioneer, breaking the world record and loving God? God asks nothing of man. Can man not give him some honor in this? Are you incapable of achieving even this? What else is there to say?